January 4th, 2023, John F. Kennedy, International Airport, New York. A plane pulls up to the gate on a cold January night, and somewhere in that shuffling line of tired passengers is a 24-year-old French national who lives in Dubai and sells cartoon apes on the internet. Behind him, $2.9 million of other people's money. In front of him, just past the gate, federal agents. Waiting. Tonight's case has everything this board loves. A knockoff empire, a confession typed straight into Discord, a takedown at an airport gate, and an ending I promise you will not see coming, not because of what happened to him, because of what didn't. Grab a coffee, partner. This is case file number 8, Mutant Ape Planet. Let's set the scene. It's the tail end of the great NFT gold rush, and the kings of that gold rush were apes, cartoon apes. The Bored Ape Yacht Club and its mutant spin-off were the status symbols of the era, profile pictures that traded for the price of a house. And wherever there's a famous brand, there's a guy in the parking lot selling something that looks almost exactly like it. Enter Mutant Ape Planet, not the famous collection. Not affiliated with it. A knockoff. Mutant apes with the serial numbers filed off. 6,797 of them minted on the Ethereum blockchain, run by a developer the community only knew by a first name on Discord, James. His real name was Aurélien Michel, French national, 24 years old, living in Dubai. Remember the name. There will be a quiz. In a courtroom in Brooklyn. Now, why would anyone buy the knockoff ape instead of the real one? Because of the roadmap. Oh, the roadmap. According to federal prosecutors, buyers were promised the works, a $500,000 marketing budget to pump the collection's value, a merchandise line, a project token you could stake for returns, raffles, giveaways, even virtual land in the metaverse acquired for the benefit of holders. Buy the ape, hold the ape, and the ape would take care of you. That was the pitch. And it worked. The collection sold out. 567 ETH flowing in from buyers. Nearly $3 million. Call it 2.9. Now, you've been at this desk with me before. When a project's entire identity is somebody else's brand plus a list of promises, we don't buy a JPEG, we open a file. Because a roadmap is not a contract, partner. Sometimes it's not even a plan. Sometimes it's just bait. Here's what prosecutors say happened next. The collection sells out, the wallet fills up, and then the lights go off. Communications stop. The roadmap freezes, no marketing budget, no merch, no staking token, no raffles, no metaverse land. And the money, the 2.9 million, starts moving out of the project and into private crypto wallets, drained. In crypto, they have a nice, almost gentle name for this. A rug pull. One day you're standing on the roadmap, the next day there's no floor. The holders did what holders do. They asked questions. Then they demanded answers. Then they got angry. 6,000 apes worth of angry. And on June 4th, 2022, James finally answered. He typed one sentence into Discord, and I'm going to read it to you exactly as the Justice Department quoted it, because you couldn't write this line better. Quote, "We never intended to rug, but the community went way too toxic." Sit with that. We never intended to steal your money, but you got rude about it. It's the arsonist explaining the house had an attitude. In 8 years on this desk, partner, I have never seen the blame travel that fast. Here's what James forgot, though. The same thing they always forget. Every one of those transactions, the mint, the drain, the hop from wallet to wallet, happened on a public blockchain. Carved in stone, time-stamped forever. And at the end of that trail of wallets sat a cryptocurrency exchange, an exchange that follows the rules. Know your customer rules. Real name, real documents. Federal investigators from Homeland Security and IRS criminal investigation walked the chain, link by link, until James stopped being a first name on Discord and became a file with a photograph in it. A file that said Aurélien Michel, which brings us back to that January night at JFK. Michel steps off the plane into the one country he probably should have flown around. The agents are at the gate. January 4th, 2023, he's in custody. The next day, prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York unseal the complaint, conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Now, a correction you'll want for the comment section. This was not, as some headlines put it, the first federal NFT rug pull case. That was Frosties. 2 defendants charged in Manhattan back in March 2022 over an ice cream-themed rug pull. But Michel was one of the earliest, and he was the one they took at an airport gate. With the cameras of the crypto press already warming up, the U.S. Attorney's Office was loud about it. Criminals in the digital asset space, they said, would be found and prosecuted. An IRS agent on the case put it plainly. There is no excusing this kind of greed, and the case was clean. The blockchain doesn't forget. The quote was in writing, and the money trail ended at his own verified exchange account. So there was no trial. Aurélien Michel pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud in 2023, November 14th in Brooklyn. He agreed to forfeit $1.4 million. The charge carried up to 5 years in federal prison. And when sentencing day came around, the government asked the judge for 37 months. 3 years, give or take, as a message, because every would-be rug puller on the planet was watching this exact courtroom to find out what this crime actually costs. So, let's do the math together, partner. The way the whole industry was doing it that week, 2.9 million taken, 6,797 apes abandoned, a written confession with a "but" in the middle of it. Guilty plea. Government wants 37 months. How much time do you think he got? Lock in your answer. November 1st, 2024, Federal Court, Brooklyn. Judge Margo Brodie hands down the sentence in United States versus Michel. Time served. That's it. That's the sentence. The month or so he'd already spent in custody after his arrest, roughly 30 days. Plus the $1.4 million forfeiture he'd already agreed to, and a $15,000 fine. No 37 months, no prison bus. He walked out of the courthouse a free man. And I can hear you through the screen right now. Is that it? Hold on. Before we grab the pitchforks, this desk owes you the judge's actual reasoning, because it's not crazy, and you should hear it straight. Federal fraud sentences are driven by one number above all, the victim's loss. And Judge Brodie's problem was that nobody could tell her what that number was. Yes, Michel and his associates took in $2.9 million, but every buyer received something in return. An NFT, digital artwork. The judge put it almost exactly like this. Everyone who purchased got something of value. What that value is unclear. His defense ran with that. You can't call it a total loss when the customers are still holding the product. That's the reasoning. It's honest. On this board, we tell it straight before we argue with it. And now I get to argue with it. Respectfully. Partner to partner. First, value. The apes weren't bought as art. They were bought for the roadmap, the marketing budget, the token, the merch, the metaverse land. Strip the promises out, and what's left is what the promises were painted on. Saying the victims kept the artwork is like saying a bricked-up door is still a door. Second, deterrence. That courtroom was setting the street price of a rug pull, and the price came out too. Give back half, pay a parking ticket of a fine, 30 days, go home. If you're a would-be James reading that headline, is that a warning or a business plan? And third, the people, the forfeiture, that $1.4 million, goes to the government, not to the holders. No restitution order made the news. The folks who bought into that roadmap are still holding 6,797 mutant apes from a dead planet. But here's the thing, partner. The judge saw the actual file, and I see a corkboard. Maybe loss really couldn't be proven. Maybe a month in a federal lockup at 24 changes a man. Maybe. So for the first time on this show, I'm not stamping the verdict. You're going to do it. You tell me, partner, did the system work? The comments section is open. That's not rhetorical. I read them. This board comes down either way, but the next file on my desk is already open, and it's a strange one. A quiet bookkeeper from a small Illinois town who stole $53.7 million from her neighbors, and the president who let her go home. Case file 9 is already open. Subscribe, partner, and bring coffee.